Hi there. This is a second roll move that many people get confused about and get wrong. It's how to play doubles on the second roll, and today I'll talk specifically about how to play double twos on the second roll. Now you can find on a stick site on BG Online, you can find a list of all the right second roll plays. You can put them into Extreme Gammon and get all of the second roll plays and memorize them from there. And together with my partners, I have developed a program called Opening Ceremony, bgopeningsceremony.com, where you can buy that for $25, www.bgopeningsceremony.com, and it will show you all the second roll plays rolled out for all four different kinds of scores. There are basically four different kinds of scores. There's your unlimited or money game, or what I call a normal match score. 11 away would be a normal match score, where the gammon values are around 0.5, the take points around 21.5, and you have normal considerations for gammons on both sides. There's DMP, which means the gammons don't matter at all. That's 1 away, or 6 to 6 and a match to 7. And DMP play occurs at other scores as well, where gammons just really don't matter very much. There's gammon save when you're playing to try and save gammons, and gammon go. But today we're going to talk about just the unlimited games, the normal scores. And a lot of people look at these lists or look at these programs and memorize all of the first and second roll plays. And that's good. I have them memorized, but the way to memorize them is not just by going down the list and saying, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do this. The way to memorize the plays, any play, is to learn it, to learn the reasoning behind it and understand the play. And once you do that, it's easier to remember the play, and then you can apply it, the same thinking, to the third roll, fourth roll, and fifth roll. Well, with the double twos, I must tell you that I had quite a bit of difficulty over the years coming up with the reasons and the logic behind each play. But in time, I got it. But it really did help to have some basic rules of thumb and understand what those rules of thumb are. The first rule of thumb for playing double two on the second roll is that unless you have a very good reason not to, you should make the standard default play, which is the play you would make in almost every situation. In this situation, the standard default play applies. What is the standard default play? In the early game, you really want to unstack your midpoint and your bar point. You start out with too many checkers there, and the more you can unstack them, or what they call diversifying your checkers, the better. And you've been given a golden opportunity to do that. So that's one reason why moving 2 checkers here and 2 checkers here is an excellent play. Another reason why is that you have made a very good point in your board. You've made your 4 point. So the first two are almost always make your 4 point with just about every one of the plays, even if you make a different play with the other 2. Secondly, why do you make this point instead of an alternative play, which is often to move 24 to 22? Because again, you're unstacking these checkers. You're also threatening this checker if he doesn't roll a 6. You're making it harder for him to clear this checker, and you have more attacking on this checker. Also, you have, since you've made your 4 point, you've got the beginnings of a very good priming game, and you're getting more ammunition into the zone, into the area where you can use these checkers to make more points where you'd like to make them, namely your bar point or your 5 point in particular. So you've got a lot of reasons that this is the best play. Many people make the mistake of hitting here, or they make the mistake of making their opponent's 5 point, and I won't go into all the reasons those are not as good. One reason, quickly, for hitting is that you haven't unstacked both points, and you're going to get hit back a lot. Actually, 17 out of 36 times you get hit back if you bring a checker down to here. So you don't really accomplish as much. And if you get hit back, you've cost him 7 pips in the race, and he's cost you 18 pips in return when he hits you back, which is about half the time. So that's the default play. If you have extreme gammon, if you set your computer to hit the U button, you're playing an unlimited game, you'll see that it's already been rolled out for you when you hit any of these buttons. That's what these mean. It means that it's already been rolled out, and you can see not only is the play that I told you the best play, it's a pretty wide margin. 4.1% on the second roll is a very high number. It doesn't seem like a high number to those of us who might often make an 8 or 10 or 12% error. But keep in mind, when you make an error on the second roll of the game, you're setting a very early stage for going in the wrong direction, and it multiplies on you. But one of the main problems with it is that you're going to see the second roll plays a lot. In fact, it's the second most common play you're ever going to see after the first roll, because this is the most common positions you're going to see. You're starting out this way in so many games that it's not going to be uncommon. So if you make a 4% mistake on the second roll, you're doomed to keep making that mistake many, 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 many times over the years, and over the months even, or days. So that's your default play. Now, when would you not make the default play? If your opponent rolls a 6-5 and runs, you'd make the default play. If he rolls just about any normal number, you make the default play. So when do we switch to a non-default play? Well, let's say your opponent rolls a 3-1 opening, his best opening. There's a very good reason why. Well, first of all, again, the first part of the default play stays the same. But now you come up. Why? Because your opponent is really threatening to prime you here. It's about game plan. You don't want to get stuck back here, and it's starting to look like you can get stuck more often. Another reason to come up is when he's made this play, he only has 2 checkers on his 8-point. So by putting these 2 checkers here, if he rolls a 6-1 or a 4-2 next time, which are 2 of the very best rolls he can roll, you would have a direct shot at the remaining checker here. This point is stripped. That's a big reason to come up off the 24. If you stay back on the 24, now look what happens if he rolls a 6-1 or a 4-2. He can make either of these points with immunity. So if he roll the 3-1, you would switch to this play, and again I'll verify it with extreme gammon. If you roll the 4-2, same theory, same reasoning. And let's say that he rolls a 3-4 and brings the checker down to here. This checker is a terrific extra builder for your opponent to, on his next roll, make this point, or this point. So it is starting to, well, of course you're hitting here. I forgot about the fact that you're hitting here. When you're hitting, then you're going to attack. This is not going to be much of a threat. Actually, it's with something like a 4-1. Now you can't hit here. You wouldn't hit off the 2-point. And because this checker is such a threat to be making points, now you would come up 24, 22 and make this point. Okay. In the other instance where he rolls a 3-4 and does what we call the reverse split, this is the play, of course, you'd hit. And because you're hitting and attacking, you want to bring more checkers in the zone. He's not threatening to take you here. Now there's another interesting situation. If he rolls a 6-4 and brings the checker here, this is another very unusual way to play your double twos. The right play here is to hit this checker. Why do we hit this checker here when he rolls a 6-4, and we don't hit that checker when he rolls a 4-1? And the reason is we have a much bigger incentive to hit if he's got a blot sitting here, where we can attack him here next time as well. And he has less flexibility after we hit this checker to come in and make an anchor inside of our board if this checker is here than if it's here. So there's reasons and logic behind every play. But again, let me just show you it's with a 6-4, you hit out here. Notice that not one of the plays has us playing 24 to 20 with 2 checkers, where you make this point on the second roll. Not a single play does that at normal match scores, at most match scores. Making that advanced anchor quickly, which is what lots of people do in many situations, is usually wrong. Now, it is right in many situations if you are on gammon save. That's a great way to play if you really care a lot about saving gammons, if the gammon price is 1.0. So that's about the only time you would make that play. Most of the time, if your opponent slots, if he slots, for example, with the correct slot for after he slots with a 2-1 is to hit this checker. But again, you wouldn't make the point because you've hit this checker. You still want to unstack. You still want to make a really good point. And because you're playing a hitting game, you want more points in your board. So you hit and make the point. Again, I've seen many people make this point, and it's an 11% error. It's a huge blunder to do that. Same thing would be true if he slotted with a 4-1 or a 5-1. You would hit and make your point. So I hope what I'm showing you is, number one, the answers are all available to you. You don't have to guess at these things. You can study them. But the approach to studying them is not to say what is the right play, but why is it the right play. Think about the logic behind it, and I promise you, you will not always come up with the right answer. Sometimes you do need help. That's why people read books, articles, have talked to the better players, take lessons. You learn some of these things are not intuitive. They're not things that you're going to figure out on your own. And sometimes even a few of these plays are complicated and difficult for even the best thinkers in the world to come up with an exact reason. And until recently, till we've had really good rollouts and assurance from Extreme Gammon, there was even a debate among some of these plays. People disagreed about which play was right. Now we're all pretty much in agreement because we all believe Extreme Gammon and the rollouts, and I wouldn't be surprised if that could actually change, that some of these rolls that are very, very close will change. This won't change. This one you can bet your booty that this is going to be the right play. But some of these moves where there's a very, very small difference, a future rollout, a future bot, who knows? We don't know how much better it can be. But if this is all the different kinds of moves you can make just at a normal match score with double 2, then think about these other 3 situations, DMP, Gammon Save, and Gammon Go. Many of these plays will change with just the double 2 second move. And that's going to be true of every single one of the 36 possible rolls that you can have on the second roll that could change as a result of the score and the value of gammons. I hope this was illuminating for you. My goal really is to get you to see that you should learn these things, that they're very, very important, but you should concentrate on the why, not the what. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.